Hey everybody, I'm Benjamin, aka The Terrible Australian, and welcome back to my video reviews. And for this one, I will be reviewing the latest Disney-produced film, Pete's Dragon. So let's get right into it. Now, of course, as you would know, Pete's Dragon is a remake of the 1977 Disney film of the same name. And I was very curious to see how this film would be updated for today's audiences. Because Disney at the moment is kind of going through kind of this sort of trend where they are kind of, remaking kind of some of their animated films into live action films. And it's kind of had various degrees of success. Like some which haven't been sort of well received by critics and audiences, like Alice in Wonderland or Maleficent, or ones that are actually done really well with critics and audiences like The Jungle Book and Cinderella. So I was curious to see how Pete's Dragon was going to be handled, particularly with the choice of director, which of course is David Lowery. And the only film of his that I saw is of course his indie film Ain't Them Body Saints, which I think, like, I wasn't the biggest fan of that film, but at the same time I did see that he definitely has a lot of talent, and I think that I could definitely see a future with him. So when I heard he was attached to make a new version of Pete's Dragon, I thought, he's a very interesting choice. So I was very curious to see how it would turn out, and I have to say, I thought he did an absolutely terrific job. This new take on Pete's Dragon is terrific, and I have to say, it's way better than the original, like by a long shot. I mean, the original was okay, and it had some memorable qualities and moments, but it wasn't particular. I wouldn't say it wasn't as good as it could have been, but this one in particular, though, this new take, or remake I should say, is just blows it out of the water. And I think what makes this film work as a remake is that it kind of takes the premise of what the original story was and just does its own thing with it. And I think that's something that a lot of remakes should take consider. I mean, at the same time, kind of honoring it's a film that sort of honors what the original did, but at the same time, it takes its own approach with its story. Like, for example, the original film, was a musical, but this one isn't. And of course, the dragon in that one was kind of a 2D, kind of traditionally animated dragon, while this one, though, is a CGI dragon and definitely kind of goes for a more realistic kind of approach to the design. But at the same time, this remake does a really good job at sort of creating new stuff and aspects to it that sort of expand on what's kind of touched upon in the original film. One of the things I really like is that it really is a heartwarming story about a young kid and his pet. Essentially, that's what the film is, and the young boy in the film, Pete, who is played by Fegley, who does a great job in the role, and his relationship with his dragon is just wonderful and very moving. And I think anyone who's an animal lover or who has a pet would relate to this film on so many levels. And also the film is just really well directed. David Lowery did a good job in directing wise, and his script is really well done. Like, all the characters are all well developed, and also the stars, all the actors just give really strong work. Like Bryce Dallas Howard, Wes Bentley, Karl Urban, and Oona, Laurence, and of course Robert Redford all give really strong work, and they actually all at least given some really interesting characters to work with. And what I was really surprised about when I saw this film is that the film is actually set in the 1980s. But unlike a lot of sort of films that kind of take sort of throwback films or retro films that sort of that are designed as love letters for the 80s, this one, though, it takes a very subtle approach to it. Like, to me, I was really surprised at first when I found out it was the 80s, and it wasn't until when I found that it was, I was kind of shocked because the film had sort of a very timeless quality about it. And it didn't feel like it was very overt when it came to its 80 references. In fact, I don't think there was any of them at all. Like, it's just set in that period, but there's nothing in it like in terms of there's a bit of music in that, but even then it's not very overt about it, or with like the references or anything that's happening at the time, like a lot of sort of 80s throwback films are doing now to annoying effect. So that's what I was really appreciative about with Pete's Dragon. And of course the design of the dragon himself is really well done, and it's just, and he's, and also we kind of get, you know, like the way with CGI's work it is going these days, it's just amazing that we can get sort of see everything that the dragon is going through during the course of the film with like just through facial expressions and whatnot, and the film just and the way they sort of handle him is just really well done. The score really good, cinematography beautifully done. It's just a great film. Like and a major surprise as well. It definitely is one of the biggest surprises of 2016, and I loved it. I thought it was a great film. Little hiccups, like little things here and there that stop it being from saying a truly excellent film. Like I said, plot-wise, it sort of doesn't really add anything too new. Like we know exactly where the story's going to go and all that, but it's still really well done. And I mean, you know, I think in a lot of ways it's just such an improvement over the original film. And this is, to me, like I said before, is how a remake should be done. So if I had to give Pete's Dragon a rating, I give it a solid 4.5. It's great stuff and very underrated, and just based on its box office and all that, like it wasn't that big. But I recommend everyone to go check it out. It's worth it. So yeah, that's the end of my video review of Pete's Dragon. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later. See you guys. Bye.